Let's take a look at schedules and legends within Revit. We'll begin with revision clouds and their schedules. A revision cloud is a way to show a change in the design on your drawings, and it is shown by clouding the area that has been changed and then tagging that change, and the tag relates to a schedule that describes all of the changes and the dates that they were issued. I have 4 walls here and some dimensions. Let's pretend that this box of a building had a small change in the corner. And we're seeing the after effect of the change. Maybe we had something before that looked like this for an entryway, and these drawings were submitted to the contractor and they started looking at it. Well, then the owner said, let's get rid of these walls and just save money by creating a normal corner. So we make the change like this, and now we have to show the contractor this change. Obviously, this is a very simple example, but nonetheless, we would put a cloud around this corner and then have a schedule explaining that the corner has changed and this is the new one. So to create first the revision cloud, we'll go to our Annotate tab. And here, under the Detail panel, we can see the revision cloud, the tool. If we click on that, it by default shows up with the rectangle tool selected. And that's so you can left click in one corner, drag, and click to the next corner, and that makes the cloud very easy. If you finish sketch mode, you get a cloud. We can go back to our Annotate tab and tag by category that cloud. Now we can see that. And now we have a revision 1. But what about the schedule? If we go to our Manage tab, and then we go to Additional Settings, and the drop-down menu, we can get to Sheet Issues and Revisions. This is the dialog box that controls the revisions. You can number the revision. You can change the numbering system from numbers to alphabet. You should put a date when the revisions happen, name the revision or put a description in, and you can say if you issued it or not, and then you can decide how you want to show. This is important because usually after you have issued one revision, if there's a second or more revisions after that, usually you show just the tag for that revision but not the cloud. And that allows the subsequent revisions to have the clouds, but you still have at least a tag representing the first revisions. So let's fill this out quick. Revision number 1 is fine. Numeric is fine. Let's put in a date. We'll just put in 4/1/18, whatever. And then the description, we can say corner change. And we won't issue it yet, and we'll cloud and tag it. And so we'll say OK. Now that didn't change anything here, but what it did change is the schedule. And to find the schedule, or to see the schedule, we have to add a sheet. So we'll go down to our project browser here, and right click on the sheets here, and we'll say New Sheet. We have to load a title block that we're going to use. And the one by default is fine. And the one by default in Revit actually comes with a schedule as part of it. This is the revision schedule. Now nothing has been filled into that because you need to place the drawing that has the revision on the sheet for the schedule to start filling up. And we can do that here. Once we put that drawing on there, you can see that the number, the description, and the date that we filled in the schedule is now filling in here. This is a very good way to keep track of changes. Now let's take a look at creating schedules. A schedule is a table that shows all the information about a certain object. For instance, a door schedule, if we go to the floor plan, and we'll input some doors on this plan, but the plan view only shows the location and possibly the size, or at least the width of the doors. However, we can then relate the doors back to the door schedule with the door tag. And the door schedule will tell us a lot more information about the doors. What they're made of, the material, the thickness, are they fire rated, the height and the width, what level they're on, all of that type of information. So let's go ahead and create some doors. And we'll create some different size doors. And maybe we can even load a different type really quickly. How about some glass doors? That didn't work. Try again. Door. There we go. Double glass. That'll work. Okay, so we have lots of doors. And we can tag those doors, if we remember from our door lecture. On our Annotate tab, we can just say tag all, select door tags, and it tags all the doors. Okay, now it's time to make a schedule. So we can go to our View tab and select the schedule here on our Create panel drop-down menu. And we'll pick the first one, the Schedule and Quantities. From this dialog box, we want to create, it's asking what type of schedule we want to create. So we're going to create a door schedule. When we hit OK, we get another dialog box, and this allows us to pick which categories or parameters of the door we want to put into our schedule. So we can look through this list and pick the parameters or the characteristics of the doors that are relevant to our project. So usually we'll have comments just in case we need to add some additional things, perhaps fire rating. I like to put the family and type at the front. The door tag is also important. The door tag is the number that's associated with each door that will relate to the schedule. In this project, the door tags are by instance, so every door has a different and unique number. The windows, by default in Revit, are type, so every window of each type has the same number or letter. So therefore, because the door has a unique number for every instance, that is called a mark. The windows, because each type has the same tag, that would be a type mark. So we'll go ahead and put the mark there, and we'll you can use these icons here, actually these here, to raise the highlighted category up or down in the list. So we'll move the mark to the very top. We'll put the family and type just after that. Comments usually go very last. It's nice to put the width and the height, though that might be part of the family and type, but we'll put that there anyway. There's height. And maybe the thickness. And I like to put the level. So let's move the level up next to the mark. And let's move comments to the very bottom. Fire rating down. And you get the idea. When you hit OK, the schedule will be created. Revit will read all of the information from all the doors, compile it in one table, and create a schedule. And it looks like this. You can modify the schedule, the column widths, by just dragging them like this. And you can add to your schedule right here. For instance, door 1 might be, we might want to say, paint main entry red. And you can add that to your schedule. The schedule can then be placed on sheets. So let's go ahead and go to our sheet that we've already created because of our revision. There's a revision cloud and the revision schedule that we looked at earlier. And let's drag the schedule. So in your project browser over here, sorry, project browser over here, you can find your schedule right there, and you can drag that door schedule onto the sheet. And now you can see that the door marks, the door tags 12 relate. So we can look for door number 12. We know it's on level 1, and it must be over here. So door 12, this is the door that the schedule is talking about when you look along this row. And again, you can modify the width of these columns just by dragging. If you double click the door schedule, you go back to where you can modify the door schedule in this view. In your properties dialog, or properties palette rather, these fields here are what help you make the door schedule look and act the way you want it to look and act. If you select any one of these, you'll get a dialog box with these being the different tabs. So you can go to the fields, and that's where we had started when we selected which fields we wanted for our schedule. But you can filter out certain fields or certain doors. You can sort and group. You can format it in different ways, and you can make it look different ways through the Appearance tab. We'll go into all of these settings in more in depth at a later date. And lastly, let's take a look at a legend. A legend is similar to a schedule, but instead of just a table of text, a legend will actually show you a picture of the item and give important information or descriptions of that item. And you can place that on your sheets. Windows are a good example of legends. Often you have the same window multiple times throughout a project. So you can just label that window, for instance, with an A, a tag that's just an A. And then the window legend will show what that window A actually looks like and the frame width and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and activate my view and add some windows. And we'll add different size windows, or actually even different types. So we have double hungs on this side and we have fixed on the top. And that's fine, that's good for now. So to create a window legend, again, we'll go to our View tab. And we will go to our Create panel and select Legends from our drop-down menu. When we select it, we get a dialog box asking for the title. We will call this the window legend. And now we have a blank piece of paper, similar to a drafting view. It's important to remember when we create a window legend that we select the image of the windows through the Annotate tab, not through the Architecture window tab. In fact, it's grayed out, so that's a good hint. But if you get confused on where to get your image of the window, try to remember it's on the Annotate tab. And then you need to go to the Detail panel in the Component section. And on this drop-down tool selection, you can select Legend Component. When you get to this, you can come up here in this area and select from many different components that you have loaded into your project. Just because we labeled this a window legend doesn't mean we only can pick windows. This list lists everything in the project. So we do have to remember which windows we've used if we want to show it on the legend. I don't remember. So let's go back really quickly and check. So we have up here, we have a fixed 3040 window, and over on the side we have a 30-inch by 46-inch double hung window. So I'm going to activate this view. Again, this is our legend window, window legend. And we'll go back to Annotate, Component, Legend Component, and we're going to find that fixed window. That's 30 by 40. And there it is there. Now when I'm about to place it on this window legend, this blank piece of paper if you will, It doesn't look the way I want it to look. I want to see it in elevation. And we can select this here. You can look at it in floor plan, elevation in the front, or elevation from the back. And we'll pick from the front. Real quick, let's look at the double hung window. It's a 30 by 46 double hung. So let's add one more window to this window legend. Again, annotate tab, detail panel, legend component. And this one is a double hung window. And it's 30 inch by 46. And we can add that to right there. I'm going to enlarge this. Now we would like to relate these windows back to the floor plan. So we need window tags to show with it. Unfortunately, Revit doesn't allow you to actually tag the window type. So we have to modify it just a little bit. The window tag you can find on your Annotate tab, Symbol panel. And under Symbol, you can select way at the bottom the window tag. Now the problem with this is that they're all going to read the same, and that doesn't help us. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and type in text 3/32, and I'm going to make this A. And I'm going to place this right over the text there. And then I'm going to copy that one and make this one B. And this way, the window legend will relate back to the windows on the floor plan. If we go to the floor plan, we can go to our Annotate tab, tag all, and this time we're going to select window tags. And we can go to this window tag. You can see that all the windows of the same type have the same number, 1, 1. And so when I change this to A to match our window legend, they're all going to change to A, except for the ones that are not the same type over here. And these I created as Bs. And you can see these are all Bs. Okay, so back to our legend. We now have window type A and window type B. So now we might want to dimension the size of the windows, or if we have a window schedule, our schedule might take care of that. But this might be tempered glass, and so we might put a little small T in the corner. We might want to dimension the frame thickness. And this might be a bathroom window, and so this glazing might be obscure glass. Now that we have the window legend, we can go back to our sheet and drag that window legend onto the sheet. And that's how you create a legend. And both with schedules and legends, you can place them on multiple sheets. They do not have to, all the other types of views, when you place them on a sheet, they can only be placed on one sheet. But legends and schedules, you can place them on multiple sheets.